Hi Mia. What are you up to?
I'm just finishing up some homework for ADT 180.
What is it on?
It's on intellectual property laws.
What's that?
Well, they are actually really important for us as students. In fact, they are especially important to you because you want to be a writer.
Tell me a little about them. Skip the boring stuff though.
All right. There are 4 major parts that you need to understand: public domain, copyright, fair use, and Creative Commons. The public domain is where everything that is not protected by intellectual property laws is.
Wait, what's the difference between intellectual property laws and copyright laws?
Well, a copyright law is a type of intellectual property law. Trademark and patent laws are also a type of intellectual property law. Anyway, as I was saying, work that is in the public domain is free to use without the permission of the author.
So, if it's in the public domain, I can just use it for free.
Yes, although you still want to cite where you got your information from to maintain your own credibility and give credit to the creators.
Why would something be in the public domain?
Most works that are in the public domain are there because of old age. Anything published before 1923 is in the public domain, but sometimes owners of a work put it in the public domain because they want their work to be free and usable by everyone.
Don't get me wrong. I would love if people quoted my books, but I need to make a living too.
That's what intellectual property laws are for. They really serve 2 purposes. They establish ownership publicly and they protect the owner's rights to their work. The copyright law basically gives the owners the right to reproduce and sell their product. The owner automatically has the rights to their creation. Patents stop individuals from stealing ideas for inventions and claiming them as their own. Trademarks prevent competition in the same industry from creating brands that look too much alike and confuse customers.
Wait, how long will a copyright last?
Well, it used to last 14 years, which people thought was a fair amount of time to make money off of a product. Now it lasts the lifetime of the owner plus another 70 years.
That's a long time. What if I copyrighted zombies or something like that?
Well, you aren't allowed to copyright zombies. You cannot copyright ideas. Imagine if Bram Stoker would have copyrighted vampires as a whole. Imagine all of the works that never would have been created.
Yes, Twilight not existing would have been a real shame. So when I use other people's work in my research papers, am I breaking the law?
No, silly. That's why there's fair use.
What's fair use?
It basically allows people to borrow a small amount of a copyrighted work for a specific purpose.
What kinds of purposes?
The main ones are education, news reporting, parodies, and critical comments.
So copyright protects the rights of the owners and fair use protects my rights?
Sort of. Fair use isn't actually your right. It's just a legally defensible position if anyone claims that you were breaking a copyright law.
Well, how do they decide whether the use was fair or not?
They use what's called the 4-factor test. The first factor is the nature of the borrowed work. The more factual the work, the more likely it is to be fair use. The second factor is the amount borrowed from the work. The smaller the proportion borrowed and the more peripheral the idea, the more likely it is to be fair. The third factor is the reason why the work was borrowed. It is more likely to be fair use if it was for educational and non-profit purposes. Finally, they take into account the effect that the borrowed piece will have on the market of the work. The less effect that it has on the potential market, the more likely it is to be fair.
Hold on. Doesn't that mean that covers of songs are technically breaking copyright law?
They very well could be, but they also might not be.
Thanks for that insightful explanation.
Well, this brings me to the last point. Creative Commons. Basically, this allows owners to allow us as users specific rights to their work. They might allow you to change their work, for example, but only if you're not using it to earn money. These licenses are free and allow other people to use licensed work to create their own. You can search specifically for CC licensed work at creativecommons.org.
That is actually kind of useful.
Now you know your rights as a user and a creator of works. Try not to break any more copyright laws than you already have.